everyone. Welcome back to Indicted TV. I'm your host, Negra. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Royalty Honey, and another shout out to Nicholas Rosenberg. If you do not want to be unindicted, make sure you guys hit him up so he could free you guys. On today's episode, we have Xavier Second Chance. Welcome to Indicted TV.
And thank you for having me, Negra. I appreciate it.
Of course. It's a little hot today, huh?
A little warm, but it's all good. Summertime.
Yeah, it's vibing. It's the summer.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start. Tell me where you grew up. How was the inside of your house, your mom, your dad, sisters, brothers? Tell me about your upbringing.
So I grew up in Pacoima.
Okay.
I was born and raised there. I had my mom, my dad. Got 5 sisters and 1 brother, so I got a lot of women in my family. My dad, he wasn't really there that much, from the neighborhoods doing his thing, so that was kind of someone I looked up to, but he just kind of really wasn't there. And then my mom, I had a good mom. She loved me, but she was working. She was a nurse, going to school. She was young, beautiful, living her life, so she was doing her thing. And so basically growing up, I really had my sister, my older sister. She always raised me. She took care of me, make sure I was straight. We grew up going from house to house. We really didn't have a stable home. We were going to different apartments. We didn't have power, electricity, shit. I was, my diapers were newspapers and shit. So
oh my God.
Yeah, we came from the gutter, and so life was all right, and just the people around me and the surroundings, it wasn't really too good, and being involved in the gangs and in that culture and environment, that's really what I was, bred and raised in. So
because you didn't have no other choice, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was looking up to. All my uncles, all my cousins, they're over here doing life already too. They're over here, it was just an environment I was around. It's all I knew, it was what's accepted. We're always getting those calls as a kid. Oh, your uncle's on the phone. Oh, your cousin's on the phone. Oh, cool, so it's normalized. And I grew up a lot of the times I was going back and forth from my mom and my dad, and we grew up right there in my city, Pacoima, at my grandma's house. So we had 15 people living up in one crib with 3 bedrooms. So you know how that is. We all get close and really didn't want to be home. Rather be in the streets, hanging out. Doing our little thing. So that's kind of where my little upbringing went right there.
So you went to elementary, you went to junior high, you went to high school. Did you graduate high school?
No, yeah. So I went to elementary school. I was doing good. I was always like a little knucklehead growing up, ever since a little kid, my dad just bred and raised me to fight, just be a fighter and shit. So.
And you look so calm.
I am. So I grew out of that stage, obviously, that was the past. I was a little angry kid.
I mean, and you're still very young.
Yeah, I am young. So I got a lot of life ahead of me.
Yes.
And I had to go through what I went through to become who I am today.
That's right.
So that's important that I learned from all those things. So. Growing up, I was just knuckle. I was getting fights,
From what age? It's just since you could remember, basically.
From 2, 3 years old. I'm literally at the park just punching people out, busting kids' noses at 3, 4 years. That's actually how my dad met his wife he's with now. I was 5 years old. We're at Handsome Dam, this a little dam in our city, and I was 5 years old. I went, socked some kid out, bust his nose open, and some girl grabbed me. He was like, "Whose kid is this? Whose kid is this?" So my dad comes. He's all drunk with his homies. That's my son. Like, oh, okay.
He's all proud.
And he's like, "Yeah, that's my son." And she's like, "Well, you need to watch your kid, blah blah blah." And then my dad, "What's up?" And then one thing led to another.
So now you and him are like besties.
Yeah. Yeah, I was helping him. I helped him pull his girls. So yeah, I was always a fight. I was just kind of angry. I was kind of mad growing up and stuff. And then I went to middle school. I kept getting kicked out, getting suspended and stuff for fighting. And then high school, that's kind of where I found I try to stay away from all this stuff. I got involved in basketball. I love basketball. So I was hooping, doing my thing. And then
good for you.
Yeah, I ended up transferring. I got recruited because I was getting good looks from colleges and stuff. And so I transferred to Poly, which is in Sun Valley. Going there, it's at the time, there was all my enemies, so we're over here getting it into it. And I was just trying to focus on, my career in basketball. I ended up going to a tournament in Vegas.
How cool is that?
Yeah, so it was cool, but since I transferred, I wasn't supposed to play. So when I went to Vegas, my coach was like, "You want to play?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to play."
Like I'm not sitting here just to sit on a damn bench.
Exactly. So I played. I did good. It was cool. And I came back to school. The league took pictures of me when I was playing. So they sent it to LAUSD, and there was a whole investigation, and I ended up was not able to play high school basketball ever again. It was like a big deal.
What kind of investigation was it? Like what? Like what happened?
Yeah, so I had a 6-month sit down period because I transferred to another school, and the reason I transferred is because they had like 4 guys going D1, and I was gonna get my looks. I was only a sophomore, so I was going into my junior year. I was gonna get a lot more looks. Had my senior year, they had like the path kind of made
Figured
for
out
me.
for you.
Yeah. So I trusted my coach.
Yeah, of course.
And when you transfer from another school, you're not allowed to play for 6 months.
Oh, and he let you, like you said.
Yeah, in Vegas. So I put another kid's jersey on. It wasn't my jersey. I had to wear someone else's name. So it was like real.
See.
We knew he knew he was doing more than me. I didn't. I don't care. Like I want to play. That's all I know. Like I'm a dog. Put me in the court. Like I'm gonna play.
But he kind of like ruined it for you.
Yeah. So,
like your life type of thing.
Yeah. So
Maybe not your life, but
Well, kind of. So like it was a big thing, and he only got suspended for 6 games, and I couldn't play high school basketball again. So it was a big thing. The LA Times did an article. The athletic director for 25 years for LAUSD and the athletic director for 20 years retired over the situation because it was unjust for me. Like I had a future, I have a career. How are you gonna take this kid's life?
Yeah, just for his own win.
Exactly. He's a grown man. He's
Not
like in his
thinking of
50s.
like your future. He was just thinking about his game.
Yeah, winning that one game in Vegas. That's all I really cared about, and that ended up, after that, I started, I started like, man, that's all I had. That's what I focused on. That's my energy. Right? And, man, started kicking with the homies, going back, doing that, and then started going to juvenile hall.
Where did you go to juvenile hall for the first time?
It was I was angry, like I said. It was for no reason. There was some kid, right? I was at a Denny's, so I was at the mall. It was Black Friday, and I seen some kid. He was dogging me, and I was like, man, like who's? And I recognized him from high school. And I was like, man, who do you think he's looking at? I was angry, so I saw him at Denny's, and my homie was like, hey, there you go, right there. He's going to the bathroom. I was like, oh yep, say less. So I went, did my thing, and he ended up tallying, calling his mom. The cops came. I was like, what? I took off, and then they picked me up at high school. I was going to Paula. They picked me up from class, and then I ended up going to Silmar right there, going to LNN.
How was that experience for you? Your first time like walking in?
Yeah, my first time. I never forgot. I drove through the little gate, and then you see all the little windows on the side. You can see the kids right there. That's the little L&M section right there. So I got in there, and then I remember the cop. He was like, "What? You think you're hard? You think you're happy?" I'm like, "Man, I'm just me. Like, I'm just here. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I didn't do nothing. I'm innocent. So we can play this game. So.
Yeah, and plus, I'm sure you already knew how to deal with, with authority.
Yeah.
Because of your dad and your family members already kind of being in and out, so you kind of would hear them and stuff like that. So you already knew how to.
Yeah, I was already laced up. I was
Exactly.
already laced up. Don't talk to him. Just do your thing. You didn't do nothing. Like I always knew, I never did anything about nothing. Like I'm innocent. I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
So I went in there. And me, I was always like a bigger kid. So I was tall. So I was always targeted. And I got a lot of at the time I had a lot of enemies and stuff. So we're how going in the halls, like it's active. It's on site,
Yes.
There's no politics like prison and stuff. Like it's on site. We're all little kids, like trying to get ours and stuff. So going in there, man, that shit sucked. We're literally in a cell. There's no bathroom. We don't got no books. We don't got nothing. It sucked right there. Like prison's way better, but that shit it's horrible. You're just a little kid sitting there, and
I've been to Silmar.
yeah, so you know how it is. We're just sitting there. There's nothing going on. Got to knock to use the bathroom.
And it's like, did they still have you have to do the toilet paper rolls?
Yeah,
still?
so it was they had the toilet paper. They'll give it to us before we went into the little bathroom. Yeah, we're going there. They'll give it to us right there. We had nothing in the cell. Like at that time where I was at, they had nothing, and then I kept up. So it was like they weren't really messing with me, and then I ended up. I only did a couple weeks right there, and then they put me on a house arrest.
How was that house arrest for you?
It was cool. It was cool.
Home, huh?
I was just happy to be home, because I was there. I was there for a little bit, and I was just like, man, this sucks. Like I do not want to do this ever again.
You mean go back to juvenile hall?
Yeah, I was like, I never want to go back to juvenile hall. That sucked. Like it was horrible. It was not fun. It was not it. Like I hated it, and so I came home. I had my little ankle monitor and stuff. So I was on house arrest for.
So you live your whole life with these.
Yeah, I've been on this thing for my whole life. I swear. So I was on probation for like 2 years, and then I I was still a little knucklehead, still fucking up, and then once I got I was in high school, I got kicked out of my whole school district. My mom, she lived in Santa Cruz, so I started living out there. And you know, it was cool. It was just a different world for me, you know, a different environment, different people and stuff. And I got kicked out the whole school district there, and then I stopped going to school. I didn't really care about that shit. I was like, man, like what's it gonna do for me? It's not gonna get me paid, you know. And at that time, at 15, I was already living alone. So like I was.
Wait, you were living alone at 15?
Yeah, I was already living alone. Like 15, 16. After I started getting, I was like living with the homies. I was with my sister. You know,
Okay.
my sister's a little older than me, so she already had a little. You know, she lived with her boyfriends, and I'll come stay with them and stuff, or whatever the case may be. Because the situation at home wasn't cool for me. You know, I didn't want to be there, so I always wanted to be out in the streets. Like that's where I felt like I was home.
More comfortable, yeah.
Yeah, I was more comfortable doing that, and then uh, so I started doing good. Actually, I got my baby mama pregnant when I was 17. I was like, you know, I got to step it up. I got to kind of chill out a little bit, you know. So then I started working. I was doing a little electrical, like for 2 months. I turned 18. I was like 18 for a couple months, and then that's where I caught my case, you know. So
Well, so what did you get it in trouble for? What led you to that?
yeah,
Tell me.
so I was in at the time I was supposed to be in high school, you know, but I was working and stuff, and
Because you were still a minor.
yeah, I was a kid. Yeah, I was 17, turning 18. So I barely turned 18, and my sister, you know, that's my everything. You know, I love all my sisters.
Your older sister.
Yeah, my older sister, my big sister. You know, that's someone who raised me and who I love. She had a boyfriend at the time. He was some rapper dude. He was a big old dude too, and he ended up beating the shit out of my sister, dragging her through the streets. You know, like my sister was unrecognizable. You know, that her toenails were off, her face was bruised. Like you couldn't even recognize her and shit. You know, so me being a little brother, you know, she gave me the call and she was like, hey, you know, this is what happened. Like, you want to come with me and get my stuff? I'm like, yeah, like of course I'm gonna go with you. You're my sister, you know. So we went over there to grab his stuff. Her stuff because she was living at his house at the time, and you know when he came out here he was living with us too. Like he's from Texas, so he was trying to follow his little career. I gave him the clothes off my back, you know, like I gave him everything I had. I took care of him, and for him to do that and turn his back and do some shit like that, you know, it really hurt me.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah, hell no. Like don't put like me. Like I grew up a woman, you know, and see my mom go through that, seeing, you know, all the scrutiny that happens to women. It's like, man, I always wanted, like, I always told myself when I'm old enough, I'm gonna protect all the women in my family. Like that's just something I took upon myself, you know. Like that's what I wanted to do. And so when she called me, I said, man, of course. So we went. A couple other people went, and we went to his crib. Boom, boom, boom. Knocked. He opened the door, and he started getting loud, started getting crazy. Like, man, we're just here to get my sister's stuff. So one thing led another. We ended up, you know, doing what we did right there, and they ended up charging us with home invasion, robbery, and torture. So they hit us with some shit. Yeah, they hit us with some shit. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, they hit us with some charges. And, you know, home invasion alone carries life. Torture carries life. So I didn't, you know, I'm a little kid. You know, I don't know about the legal system. I don't know about the law. Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know about it. So we ended up, like, I was on the run for a little while because they came and hit my pad. But at the time I was working. So because I, you know, I had the baby coming. I'm trying to do good. And
Yeah, you were just trying to be the best young man that you could be.
yeah, and like me growing up, like I had to be there for my sister. You know, that's my everything. You know, like
That
I
was
got
like
attacked
your,
on my sister.
that was like your
protector.
mom, right? Like you said, that she
Yeah.
raised you.
Yeah, we're closer than everything. You know, I love my sister, and going through that, they raided my house, and I go to work early. I leave like at 5 because I was doing electrical at the time, and so they didn't catch me. I was like, oh, they hit the crib, you know, and they didn't really find anything, and then I was like, oh, let's take off, like let's go to Mexico, let's figure something out. Like I am not trying to deal with none of this shit, you know.
Out of here, yeah.
Yeah, like let's take off. And then we were on the run for a little bit, and I ended up one night, my sister and my mom were like, let's just go home one night just to have a nice dinner. So we had a nice steak dinner, man, corn on the cob, ice cream. I never forget all the things I like, tater tots, you know, all the things I like. And
It was like meant to be, huh?
yeah, and then the next day I come out. My mom, she goes to work early. She's a nurse, so she's going her way to work, and she's like, "Hey, there's cops at the park across the street." And I was like, "Oh!" So I go outside. I'm smoking. I like, you know, at the time I was smoking weed, so I was smoking a little backwood. I look. I see a minivan pull up on my street. I see a Nissan pull up, and they're just going around. I'm like, I never seen this car. I know my block. You know, I never seen this car before. So I go inside, close the door, and I told my sister, like, hey, like we gotta bounce. Like, you know, I see some weird cars. Mom said there's, you know, stuff at the cops at the park. So let's take off and let's see what's going on. My sister, she had her son. She was like 5 years old, and my baby mom was pregnant. So we're like, all right, let's just leave him. You know, let's leave him here, and we'll come back and get him, or we'll figure something out. You know?
It wouldn't have been good for than for you guys to take them.
No, yeah. So I took off. We didn't know whether it was. That's just what I thought it was, And I take off, and sure enough, a Charger pulls behind me. I'm like, and then a cop car goes out and starts cutting me off. So I start taking off. But in my little area, I got caught. They already had the main streets blocked off. I couldn't go nowhere. So I'm just over here juking and trying to get around. And then they pulled up ARs, hopping out of minivans, Nissans, the whole night.
Yeah.
Like, man, I didn't do nothing. Like, what? I didn't kill nobody.
And you look so.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you really didn't do anything.
Yeah,
like you're just protecting your sister. Like you went to go help her. Like
exactly. Like
where the heck was this dude at?
Yeah, so
missing.
Crazy, and he for what he did. I mean, the way I was raised, the way we man, we're not gonna tell nobody. Like, we do things our way and stuff, And so he got locked up for one night for he did, and my sister obviously she's not gonna press charges, Like that's not the way we were raised and the way we were taught. So she kept the gangster, and this dude didn't, whatever the case may be, and. So we ended up getting locked up that day, and I didn't really think nothing of it. I didn't know the severity of what I did or what he said we did, whatever the case may be. So we went to
What did he say you guys did?
It's crazy. He did a whole music video about it. I'm not
kidding.
Yeah, he did a whole music because he was signed to Atlantic Records and shit. So he did a whole. He was an artist.
But he was a snitch ass fool.
Snitch ass. So we went on there. He said eventually when we went to trial and all that preliminary, excuse me. He said that we went in there, we tortured him, broke all his finger, we're trying to kill him, doing all types of shit, He threw a gang of extras on it, but...
Does he have his fingers?
He has his fingers, He has his fingers. They're still there. He still got his fingers and stuff, So that's what he said. And I'm going to my first court date, and I'll never forget it. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going home, or, I'll belt out, whatever. The first thing they hit me with, like, we got an offer for you and your sister, 25 to life and a $1.2 million bail. And I was just like, I'll never forget it. I shed one tear, came down, and I was like, spend the rest of my life here. Like, it is what it is. Like, let's just start thugging it out, And so that kind of changed my mindset, And I'm dealing with a lot of shit. I'm like, damn, I'm never going to come home and see my son wasn't even born yet, Like, I'm over here, like, damn, I can see my son being born, I'm gonna die here. So, of course I told my baby mom, like, man, do you, like, go ahead, like, that's on you, So we went through that, and we fought our case for a year. Man, county, that was a whole nother thing. I'm 18, I'm a little kid,
Because you went straight to the county.
Right to the county, yeah.
Tell me about your experience of you walking into the county when you're just 18 years old, and it's just this whole new, you're getting told that you're gonna be doing the rest of your life in there.
Yeah. So going from Van Nuys tank, it's a little different when you're going from the tanks where you get locked up at, and then going to the county. I had a little injury. I cut my finger when I was running from the cop. I slammed my finger in the door. I split my shit open. I went to the hospital. Cute cop arrested me. She was kind of flirting with me too. I was like, what's up? She's like, whenever you get out. I was like, all right. But so yeah, I cut my finger. So I was in medical in the county. Medical in the county. Oh my God, you never want to go through that process.
Well, tell me.
Yeah. So going through the process, I didn't get housed for like 6-7 days, so I was sleeping in a little floor. Luckily I had there was a homie right there that I knew, and I'm younger, so they want to look out for so they hooked me a burrito. I was like the only one with the blanket, so me and the homie were sharing a blanket on the floor. It was cool. Just you know how it is. You have that community there.
It's not cool, but while you're in there, it definitely is cool that you have somebody that you could like share and you're comfortable. Like that's what it's about. It's homie. Like it's cold. Let's get in the blanket together. Like
we're the only ones there. It's like shit. You're gonna be cold. I'm be cold here, bro. Back to back. Let's get a blanket. We got each other's back because we had to sleep in those court tanks for 5. No bed, no nothing. So all you got are your little burritos, and that was it. Burritos and orange juice and milk. That's all they're giving you. So for 5 days, I didn't get housed, and then when I did get housed, man, walking in there, it was crazy because I first went to the 5,500 floors in the county, and that's the dorm living. So I walked in there, I'm like, man, it's a whole another world. There's all types of shit going on, I'm just like. You see everybody running around, the blacks are on this tier. I never been to county, so I'm a kid, I'm open, and I'm seeing all these people. I'm like, oh, these guys look, scary or whatever, like,
for sure.
They look different, like of course I'm used to it, but I had this fear, not fear, but like
it's fear.
I guess you could say it's fear. Like I'm not used to seeing these type of people all the time, frequently and stuff, and then but right away, the homie show love, oh, you're a homie, yeah, come on, boom, show love. I remember there wasn't even a bunk for me, and they're like, hey, white boy, get off the bunk, we got a homie, and they kicked him to the floor. I was like, cool, so I'm already feeling that.
Girl,
love.
sorry for you, but I'm
gonna
get the bed.
I need mine, I'm over here kicking. I haven't slept in 5 days, I've been sleeping on the floor, so I went there, and then getting used to the program, and then eventually you know, I'm getting laced up, seeing how everything's going. Then I was there for a little bit. Then I went to the cell living right there in MCJ, and then I went to I transferred out to Supermax. I was in Supermax for a while.
And Supermax and Wayside.
Yeah, and Wayside.
And you're closer to home as well.
Yeah, so I was happy. So I was a little closer to home. I wasn't getting no. I think not getting any visits in MCJ. And then once I was closer to home, Wayside, it was cool. I started getting visits.
Because all your family's like literally right there.
Yeah, literally right there. So it was pretty cool. That was cool for me. And then funny story too. Actually, one of the cops, I went to high school with him. Right, I was in North, and he recognized me, and I used to fuck his sister. You know, I was like, he was fucking sister. So I guess he didn't like me, and he sent me to the hole. Yeah, he sent me in the hole for 2 weeks for being just for knowing them. So I went to the hole. That was bullshit, man. Right there in North, I went to the hole. So. Just because I knew him, just because he recognized me. So
That's
yeah,
terrible.
it's just like for 2 weeks, and right there, the whole they call it the dungeons, you know. So they didn't give me. They had these little balls, you know, the food they give us. And
What do you mean balls of food?
it's like nothing. It tastes
Like they
like
just
nothing.
mash
Yeah,
all the
just
food
mash again. It's
together?
like whatever, supposed to get your nutrients, vitamins all in one little spot. I didn't like that shit. You know, I'm picky. Like I'm really picky. So I will go hungry sometimes. You know, I don't like eating all the stuff. So yeah, I went there. That sucked. And then
Well, because you were fighting, like you said, you were fighting your case for a
I'm
whole
fighting
year.
my case. Yeah, I was fighting my case for a year. So going through all the counties, you know, you see all the you know, riot, it goes up, you know.
Did you experience a riot?
Yeah,
in the
it
county?
went up with the blacks one time. It popped up because the homie didn't want to deal with his consequences, so he just decided to take off on them, and it went up. You know, it went up. That was it was a good one. I mean, we got.
How did you feel when it was your first time? Like, you know, you standing around looking like shit. Like, tell me.
Yeah. So at the time, at that point, in my you know, I say career, you know, but in my you know, my time and doing my time and stuff, I was already very aware. You know, I'm already hands on, and you know, we're already participating. We're doing what we're doing. So we're always, you know, it was always on standby. Like we're just waiting for it to be up.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I was young. You know, I was 18,
You're just ready.
19. I was ready. I was active. You know, I'm the one. You know, the younger ones are the ones who put in the work. You know, that's just the
And
way it
you're
goes.
facing.
Yeah, I'm
life.
facing life. I got all day, you know, so they're gonna send me on everything before they send someone who got 6 months or a year. Oh, you're fading all day, cool. All day, cool. You know, that's what everyone knows, you know.
Shit.
So you know, you putting in more work than, you know, most people. So I mean, I'm not really tripping. That was just what the environment we're
moment, how
in,
you
you know.
felt,
So
yeah.
when it went in, I was ready. I'm sure we're all ready. I was with all my boys, you know, and we kept going at it, you know. We kept going at doing our thing because they got scared. They're like, oh, they're actually, you know, yeah, like we don't stop, you know, like.
Yeah.
And then they came in with the little they had like these little paintball guns, and they shoot the mace little like balls, paintballs, and the
Really?
mace. And so, yeah, so they shoot those, tear gas, you know. So it
Did you
was,
ever get hit with one of those?
no, so when they started doing all that, so in North, they have these little walls that divide. So I started hopping over the walls, you know, went to the third tier where all the homies are at, and then that's kind of where things died down. They sent us out to the yard. We're on the yard chilling, and then they kept the blacks in there, and the blacks stole all our shit. It was store day. They stole everything. I had that bag of store, and at the time, I didn't have no money. I had nothing, so all the little things I had, like, it was everything to me.
yours,
Yeah, and
yeah.
plus, I didn't like eating the food, so if I didn't have my store, like, I'm gonna go hungry, you know? So, yeah, they took all our. So we went back, we got stripped clean of everything. I'm like, damn, you know.
That was
like,
another fight.
Yeah, it was just like, damn, you know, like, but obviously we didn't really want to press the issue and keep it going because, you know, the stuff can go on forever. You know,
Yeah,
it's
for
just-
sure. Because there's always something, and you guys kind of do one piece, like at least a little
Yeah,
bit of
a
like
little bit.
some quiet time.
Yeah, so we went there. I transferred out. I ended up going to like another dorm and all that. You know, it's just yeah. You know, you get used to the violence. You know, desensitized to everything. You know, you know, I'm getting 39s. Like, man, I was on that booba squad like 3 times a day. I was over juking it out. They loved me. You know, the homies loved me. So
And you look so like you know, you're so young, and you look so calm. And it's like if I would see you in the street, I wouldn't even think.
no, yeah,
You know, like at all.
that's
at
the
all.
whole point. You know,
No,
that's the whole
definitely,
point.
No,
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, I went through all that. It was county was a trip. You know, county's a trip. You know.
So you went to court for sentencing. Tell me about your sentencing day.
Yeah, so court was kind of crazy because all the cops knew my situation, you know. All the cops knew I was going through. They knew our case, you know, specifically me and my sisters because of what was going on. You know, everyone, the cops would pull me to the side like, hey man, like we respect you for what we did. I'm already a little kid, you know, like if I was the same way, if that happened to me, he would
That's
have been
right.
dead,
You
you
were
know,
just
like
protecting your sister.
right, and so man, the court process of going to court in the county, man, sucks. Waking up at 2 a.m, like it's a whole day thing, you know, it sucks. So the day we took our time, I really wanted to go to trial. my mind was set on that because I saw the discovery, I saw the case factors and everything, and then we have our little court lawyers in there like, oh, you can beat it, we have we have all that shit. So I was listening to all the older homies and like, man, like I actually did have a lot of action, where I could have went home on it. So it came to a point where we're gonna go to trial. I think like the next day or the next court day, it came down to that, and my lawyer was like, look, we got a deal for you guys. We're gonna give you 16 years, 2 strikes, and your sister 15 years, 2 strikes. And I'm just like, like I really wanted to take it to the box, because they really didn't have evidence against me, that I was there. And then the victim, he was lying throughout the whole entire preliminary hearing, and we had him, we had documentation, because this dude was, saying he's gonna kill my sister, like after the fact, doing all types of shit, So we had him, and he denied everything. So we had all these things against him, where his word was
ain't nothing.
It ain't everything he said ain't that didn't happen, and they couldn't put me there. But my sister, they had her face on camera, and so I already knew, like, hey, if shit hit the fan, like, we did go to court, my sister would get washed up. Maybe I go home, or we'll both get washed up. So like, they're not allowed to put guys and girls together, but they always put me and my sister in the same little courtroom. They gave us that little love and respect, which is cool. I respect them for that. So we sat there and we talked, and I'm like, damn, Nance, like, she was like, well, what you want to do? And I was like, oh, that's a long time, I'm 19, and I'm about to have my son. I'm not going to be home till my 30s and shit. I was like, that's a long time. And she's like, I know. And I'm just like, well, it's better than life, right? So the deal ended up being, I took 16 years, 2 strikes, and 6 years was going to be run concurrent. So while I do my 10 years, I do those 6 years. And then I was in the county for a year, so they gave me that time doubled up. So I'm going upstate with 8 years. And so I had another case why they gave me another year. That's why I got 16. I had another bullshit case. It was just a little fight at a smoke shop. And so we went into the room. And cool thing is, shout out to my sister, man. She, shout out to my sister, man. You know how the girls, they have all the candy, the sweets, the products. Girls have a little different, a little more luxuries. The lotion, the shampoo. When we go to court, she'll always you get these little wristbands, where you got your property. So she'll drop it on the floor. I'll slide my little foot on it, pick it up, and I'll take down all the snacks, the little vending cards. Take them back. All the homies wanted my stuff. I smelled good. So that my sister always looked out. So I remember that day when he took the time, she dropped that, picked it up. We got caught. They saw it. The sheriff see it, but they didn't. They know what it is. They know what it is. They respected us, and like they felt bad for us, honestly. And so yeah, we got sentenced, and I remember we took the time. It's like it is what it is,
So you took 16 years, 2 strikes.
Yeah, 2 strikes.
Wow.
So I was going upstate with like, I got everything to lose, If I do anything, if I get caught doing anything, if I make one mistake, if I got caught for anything I was doing, I'm getting washed up. I'm never coming home, So it's like, when you're going there, anything happens,
Anything.
And you got to be strapped up, you got to do what you got to do. And if I get cracked one of these things, like, it's over with. Like, I'm never going to see my son. I'm never going to be able to spend a day with him. So I had to be very, very smart when I was there, very strategical, going
when you got to prison, you're saying.
Yeah.
Tell me about your first day when you actually got to prison, like your little ride there, how it looked when you walked in, how you were feeling, your deep emotions,
Yeah. So when I was going, man, it was I remember I was in the holding tanks in the county. They sent me to MCJ. It was a long process. It took me like a day or two just to get to the bus. So everything's you're always tired, when you're transferring, you're always tired. You're always like, I just can't wait to get there. And then I remember going on the bus, and I was on the bus, and we're going. I was going to Delano, so that was where I was at. I was looking at the little windows, just like, man, just bringing it all in, man. Like, damn, I can see none of this shit for a long time, Like, just every time you transfer, like, even when you're going to court, you stand up because in the county buses there's no level window, so you have to stand up to look. So I always appreciate and took that in, loving the beautiful nature, just seeing everything that's out there. Like, I always appreciated that. I'm not gonna see this for a long ass time, So going upstate, I went to Delano. Walking in there, you're getting processed in, and I had something with me, so I was like, they had these little X-rays. I was like, oh shit. I was like, damn, like, I hope I don't get cracked. I was just like, it is what it is, So, but I ended up, I made it. I was good, so ended up going to B-Yard right there, and cell living. It was my first week there, man. Like, it was cool. It's a whole different vibe, It's a whole different environment, and I had to get used to the cells. I never been, I was only in a cell for a little bit in the county, so getting used to the cell, it was a little different, you know.
Why?
It's small, you know. It's real small. Getting used to it. Luckily, you know, I had a good cellie at the time. He was lacing me up, teaching me all the things I needed to know, how to spin line, you know, how to clean the house right, hit all the walls, you know, do everything. So I was getting laced up on everything, you know. So
Yeah, because you didn't want to be a dirtbag.
No, yeah, hell no, yeah, we don't dirtbag or nothing. So yeah, I already knew how to clean, but you know, I cleaned the walls and the roof of the cell. Like
Because they do that like literally every day, huh?
Every day, every morning, yeah. We would do it twice a day. Every morning we get up, boom, pick up all the stuff, put on the bunk, hit the floor. We'll take turns. Well, actually, I started doing it, you know, out of respect. Like I'll just do it every day. Like I have more energy than you. You're old. Just man, sit up
so
in
he
your
was
bed.
older.
Yeah, he was a little older. I like to, you know, I'm young. I'm always the youngest everywhere I went. Like in the count of 18, prison, I was always the youngest every yard, everywhere I went. You know, so. I had that something to prove type mentality, you know, but I always respected everybody. Everybody respected me. It was always mutual. So yeah, that first week, that's when shit like sunk in, you know, like all right, like I'm here. I'm getting now we don't have no pay phones, you can't talk to nobody, like you're stuck, you know. And the first week I went, we went to yard. I remember the first yard that we went to, and we're walking out, and my neighbor was single cell. He was a white boy. So we're walking out, and then I seen this other white boy that I knew, like I knew of, and just seen him around and stuff. And I seen him push into a cell, and I'm walking out, and I'm like, ooh, it's about to, you know, you about to plug him. I was like, okay, cool. So we're taking off to yard. I'm just like, man, like my first yard, we're not gonna get no yard. That's the only thing I'm thinking about. It's about to go down. You
Yeah,
know?
who cares about everything?
Yeah, who cares about
I'm
everything?
just worried about my yard.
Yeah, I want to get my yard time. I'm trying to see the sun, you know. I'm trying to see what the yard's about, you know. I'm trying to meet all the homies, you know. I'm trying to meet everyone out because we're just stuck in the cell all day right there. And the yard never went down. I'm like, damn, like they haven't called the yard down yet. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. And at the time, I didn't really know what was supposed to. But my celly's lacing me. Oh, the yard's gonna go down. You know, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool. So we ended up going back. The yard never went down. So the whole time we were at yard, this dude chopped him up. He chopped him up. He flatlined him. So we came back to yard. I look into his cell, and all I see is blood everywhere.
What do you mean, literally chopped them up?
Like no, I mean,
okay, just like
blasted
a gang
him.
of
Yeah, blasted him. You know, and blasted him a gang of times. You know, and I go and I look in his cell, and he's just sitting there eating a sopa.
The guy that did it.
The guy that did it, yeah, young kid, and the dude's laid out with a big bone crusher just sticking out of his chest, blood everywhere, and I look, and at my neighbor, I'm just like.
Oh my goodness.
I walk in my cell, you know, and I'm just at that point, at that setting, I was a kid, you know, I was 19. I was just like, oh whoa. Shit, like this is real, like, cause in the county you're not seeing people get killed. You're not seeing, you know, it's more like hands on, you know, things like that. And I was all right for sure. Like this is what it is, like for sure. So at that point, it was crazy. Yeah, they came, they picked him up. They thought he was the call was because he was a child molester, but. It turned out it was a bad call. It wasn't even it. And that kid who did it he had 16 months to the pad. And now he's getting washed up for something that wasn't even righteous.
That is terrible. And that happens a lot, huh?
Sad, yeah. His whole life was thrown away over something that wasn't even it, you know? So that point, I was like, all right.
16 months and you're going to sit there and eat the soup. At least leave.
Well, yeah, he had to lock himself in because he went to yard, you know, so he already knew, like, he's not getting away with it. Like, he already knew what it was. He wanted to go do what he thought was right, you know, like
I get it.
As he should, whatever.
For sure. I get it.
So he went to yard, locked himself in there, you know, and went to do his thing. But usually after yard, they walk. They didn't walk that day. So that's why he was able to do what he did for however long he was able to do it for. So yeah, that sunk in. I was like, all right, this shit's real, like for sure. Like it's no game. Like I gotta make it out. That's like at that point, I was like, look, it's either it's kill or be killed. You know, that's the life we're living. You know, so at that point, I was like, all right, cool. Like, you know, let's get strapped up. Let's do our thing. You know, like we already had it in motion. I you know, came to a conversation. I had my mom like, look, she was, would you rather visit me in a cemetery or in a cell for the rest of my life? Like it's gonna be one or the other. You know, and I'd rather it be the alternative. You know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I'm gonna do what I had to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. Would you say that was the worst experience you had while you did? Because how long did you end up doing?
I did 6 years.
Would you say that was the worst thing you experienced while being in there?
I wouldn't say it was the worst. It was just an experience, you know, because it was the most insightful. That's what that was. It broadened my eyes and realized, okay, cool. Like this is what it's gonna be. This is where we're headed to. This is what I'm gonna live potentially for the rest of my life. Let's get ready for it, you know. So going from there, and then so now you start getting. So I'm not used to the violence like that. Obviously, but the stabbing's a little different, you know. So every yard, you know, in reception, you know, when you go in reception, they're cleaning up house. You know, everyone is up shit and whatever, blah blah blah. They're clean up, so everyone's getting whacked on the yard. So every time we're going to yards, hope we get a good yard today. I'm not, but most of the time it's getting dropped. So now you start seeing these things. Now you start getting desensitized to it. And it's just like it's just another yard, just another, just another thing happening.
It's like it was already kind of normal to you.
Yeah, it's normal.
What would you say was the worst thing you saw in those 6 years?
Man, the worst thing.
And it doesn't have to be like some kill. It is just some like crazy.
Honestly, the let me see. I seen a lot. I think of the worst. I mean, I could tell you a few things. Like there was a riot on my yard. Well, not with us, but within the Northerners and stuff. That was crazy. That was a good one. And they ended up.
You said that was a good one too.
Yeah, I mean, see, I don't think crazy. I think
sucks.
it's like it's a good riot. I know. That was our mind. So,
I know.
And it's So at those times you get so desensitized. Like I remember, like people would be getting. I'll never forget this. It was actually the day of that riot. This dude. They were going at it with each other. It was a power struggle, so it went on for a minute. Everyone's just getting chopped up, then they started shooting. Obviously, they shoot the M14, but when we plan things out or when they plan things out, we don't do it. We do it with certain people. It's strategical,
Yeah, of course.
You got the guard tower. Like, all right, we know this guy. He's not gonna shoot. He's not a killer. So it was him. So he was just shooting the handball courts that day. He wasn't knocking no one's head off. Like, we know another cop they'll knock your head off. They shoot to kill. Yeah, that's what it is. First thing you go to prison, you see warning, no warning shots. That's the first thing you see is like, all right, cool. Like they're just try to shoot to kill. And so that went on for a minute, and then I remember the dude that he was in the right. They laid him out on the yard, and one dude had this arm, one dude had the other arm, and another dude was on him, just two hands, just chopping him up, boom, blasting him. And when you get whacked like that, you're supposed to sit up, because if you lay down and just you let it happen, all the blood's gonna go into your lungs. You're gonna end up choking. You're gonna end up dying. That's how you die. That's how a lot of people die. So I thought he was gonna die for sure. He sat up. He was just sitting there, hunked over on the floor.
So crazy the way the mind works when you're going through all that stuff, huh?
Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
You remember, just sit up.
Yeah, and he did. He sat up, and then you see it leaking out of him, and he ended up surviving. And he was the only one that came back to the yard. And yeah, he ended up surviving. He did it right. So I couldn't believe it. He was a good dude. Solid. Yeah, he was a solid dude. He was a solid dude. And so that was one of the craziest things I've seen. Right.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah. So that was a big. That was a big thing right there. And then of course you see you see people get whacked. You see people get killed.
What was the craziest thing you did that you could say?
The craziest thing I did. So I went in California City. I think it was like 2019. Most of the thing I got away with a lot of stuff. I was good,
we're gonna talk about the things that you could.
Yeah. So we did all right. This one, I was playing basketball. I love basketball.
I was gonna ask. I was asking if you played sports while you were in there.
I love basketball. So I was always hooping. All the homies know. I love sports. I play all the sports. Everyone wanted me on their teams or gambling. It was fun. I like having fun, and. I was playing basketball, and there was this dude, and he ended up pushing me. I was like, "Hey man, like it was my homie too. Like, hey, what you pushing me for? Like,
Never playing, dick.
Yeah." And then he pushed me again. I was like, "Hey man, look, check it out. He pushed me again. I'm gonna knock your ass out." So sure enough, he was just testing me, and pushed me. I served him up, pieced him up. I broke his nose.
How did you do it?
Pieced him up real quick. It was literally I cracked him one time, and while he was falling, I hit him like 5 more times. Boom. The reason I know this is because they had cameras in the gym, right? So I knocked him out, and I was like, man, let's roll. And he's leaking on the floor, and this is in the gym. So the way California City is structured, it's like a federal prison. So everything's like indoors in the 200s and the units and stuff. So I pushed out from the gym to the yard, and all my homies came in. The homies are like, come on, like let's roll, like come on, like let's go. And he was just sleep, he was asleep, wouldn't get up, nothing, discombobulated. So I took off on the yard, and they put the yard down, and now they're checking everybody's hands and stuff, seeing who did it. I got away with it. So I go back, I go to the cell. I'm over here like, hey, I told my son, hey, shave my head because I had a little longer hair. So I went bald, and then sure enough, I get a knock on my door, hey, Contreras, they want you to the program. I'm like, oh, shit. Look at, all right, what do we got going on, So I end up going, and they're like, what's up, man? What you do today? I was like, man, just chilling in the cell. I didn't
play basketball.
I didn't play basketball. I did nothing today. I've been in the cell all day. He's like, oh yeah, and they put the little camera machine. What's this? And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, it's a clear video of me. I was like,
couldn't even deny it.
I was like, yeah, you got me. He's like, so what happened? I was like, you know how it is. Shit, just it is what it is. Like I got nothing really to say. You guys can see what happened. Like there's nothing to talk about. And they're like, all right, cool. And I was like, it was like Yeah, my bad. They called like 10 guys in before me. Like all the people that look like me, like, oh, that's not him. That's not. And finally, like, oh, yep, this is the one. This is the one. Like, yeah, we went through 10 people. I was like, man, you guys could just ask me, you know? And they respect that. Like, I was up forward about it. And they're like, all right, cool, man. Like, we're not going to pick up no charges. We're just going to write it like a mutual combat thing and send you on your way. No more problems? Like, no more problems, man. We good. So they sent me back. And then, after that, because I was a porter there, so all the cops knew me. They were like, "Man, what's up, Rocky?" Because they all started running back that video. You know, I remember I went to visit him with my mom.
You thought you're all cool.
Yeah. So I was like, "Man, come on, like leave it alone, you know." And then I went to visit him with my mom, right?
Oh, good. She used to visit you. Did you see your baby?
Yeah. So I did see my baby. So the first time I actually was able to even to hold him, he was almost like 9 or 10 months, I like to say, was when I finally went. Delano, I didn't get no visits, and then I went to my next prison, and that's when I started getting visits right there. And I mean, I'll never forget that day. That was a beautiful day. I went, man. I finally got to see my son, and my son, like, he didn't like anybody really. He always cried when everyone tried to hold him, but he came. I held him, and I was right there in the visiting room. He just fell asleep on me, and I was just like, man, this is what life's about, you know? Like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And so my son was really like what kind of grounded me for sure. Like, kind of help me stay on the right path and do the right things and not get in trouble, because like I could have raised my hand, you know. I could have been like, I want to do this, I want to do that, like I'm young, you know, and got to put in the work and stuff.
That you didn't.
Yeah, so I ended up, you know, just, you know, everything. I had to do what I had to do, whatever the case may be, to get through my time and stuff. But my son was a big impact, and I've been in a relationship. I write him letters, birthday cards. Like, I love my son. He has a bunch of letters, a bunch of pictures, a bunch of stuff right there. Everything, you know, send him presents, you know, everything I could, you know, from the situation I was in, you know, the phone calls, you know, things like that. So that relationship was important, for sure for me.
Let me ask you. So you got 16 years and you're home. How did you end up coming home?
Yeah, so I did my time. I did a lot of good stuff. So I got a lot of time knocked off. I did like college. I did a bunch of self-help work. I did a bunch of programs that helped me get time knocked off my sentence. And so I ended up. I did 6 years in total. I ended up, before I went home, I went to some program. It's called MCRP, and I go home on an ankle monitor. And basically, you're in this little halfway house, and you're able to work, go to studio, do your little thing and stuff. Man, that was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I had 6 months left to the pad, and like, you want to go? And then I was like, well, I don't know if I can. Then I got the okay that I could, so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then so I ended up going, and that I was it was cool, man. It was real cool, and it was a good place to transition, you know.
I was gonna ask that.
Instead of just going let out, like, I was able to transition and kind of see the world again, you know, because doing some time, like, you're not used to. You know, I was locked up as a kid, so I'd never been out here as an adult. I never really, you know, I didn't really know what life was about. So I came out there. I remember the first time I went into public, I went to this little barn. It was for Halloween. We're getting set up for the kids and stuff. And they asked me, you want to go out? I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Like, I want to get out. I was all nervous, you know, in the back of the van, you know. We went, got the hay. I was looking, and it was like a little pet store. And I was looking at all the pets, and I was just fascinated by everything. I was just like, man, just taking it all in, you know. I was just like, I can't wait to be like really, really free, you know. So that was my first taste of freedom. And then they sent me to Target. I went to Target, and I was like, man, there is so. I feel like walking out. Like, I was like, I had so much anxiety. I was just like, man, like, there's so many options, you know. Usually I got a store list, you know. There's only so many things I could pick up. So going and seeing all these things, I didn't even get anything I came to buy. Like, I remember I just got like some gaming headset, a controller. I'm at the program, I want to play some video games. Like, you know, come on, let's run it. So that's all I got. I didn't get nothing else. I didn't get no food or nothing. I was like, I didn't know what to buy, you know. Like, it was just too many options for me. So I just walked out, took off, rode my little bike back to the program. You know, I was riding my bike, man. Right, people don't pay attention to bikers, because I started working at the SoFi Stadium doing electrical during that program, and I got hit by a bike like 3 times on my by a car. I got hit by a car.
Did you get in that program in jail? You said you do the
electrical? Yeah. So no, my dad was a superintendent of his company, so he ended up doing good. My dad ended up doing good with life and stuff eventually, and then he was able to give me a job, and it so happened it was close enough I could go to it, you know. If not, I'd have to do one of the little warehouse jobs, work at Toyota or something like that. But like, I'd rather go to ride all the way to SoFi Stadium. I have that freedom. It's a big job site, because there aren't
with your dad.
With my dad, you know, have people come see me, you know, come visit me there, have a little work
That's
visit,
all you cared about.
Hey, it was something.
No, I get it. I get it.
because I was locked away and then having that little taste of freedom. It's like, man, I'm out here, but I can't go to this restaurant. I can't stop at McDonald's. I can't, So it was a little taste of freedom. So it was a good way to get used to what the world is kind of like.
I agree. I feel like everybody should go to halfway houses, like everybody, because
At least the
I feel like when people just go straight home,
Mm-hmm.
you have so many more triggers. Like you want to like leave, even though you really shouldn't. Like it's easier for you to break the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the halfway house, you're just like you're able to. They give you certain times,
Yeah.
and if you want to have a visit, then they have to come in. Like so, I feel like it's so much better. I'm glad I did the halfway house.
No, yeah, I agree with you because a lot of people they come home to nothing too. So they have no money, nothing. So there you can work, you stack up some money, figure out what you want to do with your life, So if not, you just get sent home with a $200. Like, what are you gonna do with $200? And with nothing. And what you're gonna go try to find a job? How you gonna find a job? You don't know anybody. You're out into a new world. A lot of the people got out doing 20, 30, 15 years, 10 years, a
And
lot
I
of
feel like
time.
that's why a lot of people end up going back because they're afraid and they don't know how to deal with real life. So it's easier for them to be inside.
Yeah, for sure. Because everything's structured. You're fed at a certain time. You're basically told what to do. You have the program set for you. Now you have to come out here. You have to figure out what you're gonna do with your life. You have to figure out what you want to do. Now you have to pay for your food. You can't. No one's serving you a tray every morning. Now you gotta pay for your food every day. Things are expensive out here. You have to live. You don't have a lot of support. Now you have the cops pulling you over, messing with you all the time. You're going to job interviews. You can't get a job because you're a felon. They're doing background checks. It's like everything's kind of set up for you to fail and go back. And then when people are in that situation, they're like, okay, like, let's go back to slanging, let's go back to robbing, let's go back to hitting licks, like, so it sucks.
How long have you been out?
I've been out for a little over a year, so like a year and a couple months.
And where are you at now? What are you doing?
Oh, what I'm doing, I got my clothing brand, Second Chance Apparel. That's something I'm really passionate about. So I came home, and it was different. I saw the world in a different view. I never really got to experience a lot. So when I came out, I started going to nice restaurants, seeing the beach, seeing like, man, life is so beautiful. Like I couldn't wait. I was dreaming about these days, and now I'm here. So I got a deep appreciation of life, and I was kind of caught up in that little lifestyle, and then I was just like, man, like this is not it. Like life is beautiful. I have my son. He's looking up to me. I got to be a positive role model. I got to be an impact. And some professor, her name's Sarah. She ended up hitting me up, and she's like, hey, like I'm doing this little study, trying to help with people who are get rehabilitated, trying to stop the recidivism rate, things like that. So I was wondering if I could talk to you, see what programs work for you, like halfway houses, etc. So I went and talked to her, and she was like, wow, like you have a powerful story. Like I would like for you to come speak to my students. I was like, me speak to your students? Like I don't even want to talk to you, barely. At the time, I didn't want to be I don't want to talk to anybody. Like I was just, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna take care of myself. And
you're so young, which is like the most beautiful part about this whole experience for you, that you are so young and the way your mentality is, like you have a very, very bright future. You're only 25 and you already gone through so much at such a young age that you don't need to go go backwards. It's just all positive and bright for you.
Yeah, exactly. So she kind of like opened those doors and started, hey, sharing your stories, sharing what you're doing. And these kids are like, what can I do to help? Like these little college kids, I'm just like, I don't know. Like I'm just out here trying to help myself, Like I have no idea. And then eventually I went back again, and that's when I started the second chance, getting a
You went back
going.
inside, or you
No,
went back?
I went back to speak at the college.
Okay.
Yeah, to speak to these students. And I came like, look, this is my plan. Like I'm starting a clothing brand called Second Chance Apparel, and what I want to do is I want to mentor kids. I want to help these kids out, kids that are in juvenile halls that are lost and broken like myself, who really didn't have no one to look up to. Like if these kids knew better, they do better. If I knew better, if I knew another walk of life, if I was introduced to other things with someone like myself coming in young, ambitious, with some energy, like I think that would change the trajectory of where I was at. I went through what I went through. But I don't want to see these kids go through that because it's too late. It was almost too late for me. I almost didn't have a second chance. I was facing 25 to life. It was just, if I made one mistake, I would have never went home. So I understand it. Prison is not it. Prison, all that is really not it. Everybody who's there, everybody who says it's gangster, that shit is not gangster. And everybody just wants to go home. Everybody wants the same thing. Everybody's thinking at the end of the night when they're laying down, looking at those walls, like, damn, I can't wait to go to the beach. Damn, I want to see my son. Damn, I want to be laid up with the girl. Damn, I'm fucking hearing my celly fart and shit. You know, like, you don't want to hear that. Like, you want to be home laying with the
Girl, I want to hear my
woman,
girl
you know?
fart.
Yeah, that part. You know, like,
Yeah.
you'd rather be home doing something doing something you love, because everybody there's miserable, you know, and it sucks because I seen everybody around me. You know, majority of people are never coming home. You know, it's a sad part. Everyone's lifers, you know,
Yeah.
been down 20, 30 years, just never coming home, and it's just like I see the misery, I see the pain through their eyes, and
Yes,
it
that
sucks.
part.
It sucks.
That part, and
you
it's
know?
like that's all they could do. Like they already know they're gonna be in there, so obviously full force. You know,
Yeah.
be the best man you can be in there. But for the ones that are in and out just because they just don't want to get right, it's like
Yeah.
that's a whole different topic. But you know, it's like it sucks for the ones that I already know that they're never gonna come home from a very young age.
Yeah,
You know.
it's just sad. For me, it's just sad. Like I get sad thinking about it. It's like, man, all these people, they're just lost souls, you know. And imagine if they had someone taking a stake on their life, trying to invest in them when they were younger. You know, it really starts when they're a kid, because when it's older, kind of you make the change yourself, or you're just gonna stay the same way the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know, and I know all these lifers, they wish they're out here.
Yeah.
Everybody that's locked up, they wish they're right here.
Of course.
You know, no matter what they think, you know, all these people out here that are promoting all these music and shit, it's cool, you know, it's cool, but all that gang of shit, it only leads one thing. You know, you're either gonna get killed or you're gonna get, you know, washed up. Like, there's really two options. There's so much opportunity out here. You can do a podcast, you can start a clothing brand, you can be a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer. The possibilities are endless, and it sucks. A lot of people like myself and us, that we didn't have these opportunities. So that's why I'm trying to provide these opportunities, get these kids involved in the educational program, teach them entrepreneurship, financial really game them up. Like, this is not it. Really, it's not it. I was in the same halls as you. I know where you're headed to. Let's cut it off here. Let's start a different direction and path. Like that's really what I'm passionate about. And I feel like these kids will resonate with me because I'm young, you know. I'm not like these older veteranos coming out, you know, like, hey, homie, check it out.
No
It's the
disrespect.
way. Yeah, no disrespect to none of you guys, you know. I got love for all my other homies,
Yes.
you know. But it's like it's about where the message is coming
Yeah,
from, you know.
for sure.
And like if you have someone with a white collar, you know, who's never been through it, trying to change them,
You're not gonna
they're
listen.
you're not gonna listen. Like, who are you? Like, but someone, look, bro, like, I've been through it. Like, I know where you're going to. You could listen to me, and we could really figure something out for you, or you can keep doing what you're doing. You know, like that's entirely up to them. But I just kind of want to show them there is another way of life. You know, you really can do something else. You know, because all that stuff really isn't it.
For sure. Aw, I don't even know what to say, which is like so like weird, right? Because I always have something to say.
Yes,
But it's so dope. I'm really glad that you came to share your story. Is there anything else that you want to share?
No, just, man, just if you have a second chance, if you have an opportunity in life, just really take it full force, you know, because there's a lot of people out there that don't, you know, just appreciate what you have in life. Because I appreciate everything. I appreciate waking up in the morning. I appreciate seeing the sun. Like, a lot of people are so focused on these minimalistic problems that they have in this world. Like, man, it's little. These are little things. Money comes and goes. You know, all this stuff comes and goes. Like, forget about it. Enjoy the moment. Live in the moment. And enjoy the presence of people. And try to create. When you're doing positive things, you're gonna meet positive people.
That's right.
You know, and that's the main thing. You know, positivity to me is important. You know, I came from a whole entire lifestyle where everything was negative. You know, my whole life. And now that I'm transitioning into a more positive light,
It just feels better.
feels good. I feel like I'm home. You know, I'm actually truly happy. You know, like, I'm
for
happy
you.
from the inside. And now I know, like, I could help my homies out. You know, the homies that are I could help you guys out. You know, we could all shine and rise together.
That's right.
And that's what's important for me.
That's
you know,
right. Okay, I got a question.
I got to answer.
If you don't mind, how's your sister doing? Is she out?
Yeah. So my sister came home a few months before me. She's doing amazing. My sister's doing amazing. She's doing incredible things. She's about to get 2 associate's degrees.
Good for her.
She's starting a training program. She has her tea company. She has a lot of stuff going on for her. I'm really proud of her. You know.
Good for her.
Yeah. So she's doing.
Shout out to your sister.
Yeah. Shout out to my sister, man. I love her to death.
I need you on Indicted, sister.
Yes, she does. And my sister, you know, she went through her own things. You know, she
Of
had
course.
a different experience. You know, with women, it's a whole different
Definitely.
experience. So, yeah, I love my sister. She's doing great.
Good.
I can't see her, you know, unfortunately, because still on parole. You know, they're still kind of messing.
So they're not
with me.
allowing you to see your sister.
Yeah, you
It's
know,
like
I
a
can't.
condition type
Yeah,
of
it's a
shit?
condition, so I can't see her. I can't communicate her or nothing.
That
yeah, so I
sucks.
just see everything from afar. You know, hear things from, you know, my family and stuff. I'm not. So it's kind of, I haven't seen my sister about 7-8 years already. So we're still waiting for that time. We're gonna come back together
will.
and be family again.
Super soon.
Super soon.
Super soon.
Super soon.
Time flies.
It does. It does. And it waits for
Super
no
soon.
man. It
Yeah,
keeps
yeah.
going.
That's
so
right.
for
That's
sure.
right. All right. Well, thank you for coming on Indicted.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Indicted TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram.